We got a 2010 Ford Explorer. We're going to put a heater core in it, evaporator core, and the case assembly. The reason we're doing this is I've got a video where I did the diagnostics on it, but this is the case that we're going to put in. That little door lever here broke off. You cannot buy just that lever. You have to buy this whole case. And then we're going to put a heater core in it. Heater core sets. Here's the heater core. It sets right here under the bottom. I'm going to put that in, and of course it came with a evaporator core already installed in it. This case is the wrong part. It's not the part I was needing. This door here is the lower lever. What I was needing was this part. It sets up here like this. You see the lever is broke there, where this little rod hooks to. Okay. Anyway, I had to go to Ford because they couldn't find the part, but we finally end up finding it, and they got it on order. But this mounts to the back side of this dash right here. It goes in here and mounts in this area, and then when you slip the dash in, that seats up on that case that goes right here. Anyway, I cut this video after I pulled all that out. I decided I better insert this part in before we go into pulling all this stuff out. But we're going to do this by the book, how Ford says to do it. So I'm sure somebody come up with some shortcuts somewhere down the road, but we're going to do this by the book, how it's supposed to be done. First thing, remove your Freon out of the system. Remove a battery cable. Now you will have to hook that battery cable back up. We get ready to remove this rear console, or not rear console, but the console, the rear bolts down here. We'll have to move the seat forward, remove them, and then remove the seat back, and then we can unhook the battery cable again. Anyway, let's get started. Okay, got me a light installed in here. Coolest light in the world. Look at that. Okay, first thing, we're going to remove this little trim piece right here. You'll just pop it up. That out. You'll lift this up. There'll be two 7mm screws. One right here. That's what it looks like. And then there'll be one right here. Remove them. And then we're going to grab it right here at the back and on the side. Come over here, pull up, and get it unclipped from this side. Maybe. Just like that. There will be an electrical connector under there. You'll have to unplug it right here, going to the power point. Next, see this lower trim panel right here? It's got a push clip type deal here. I'm just going to grab it right back here, and I'm going to wiggle it and pull. Move that out, and then kind of work this free. Them clips right there. The other side will have one too. Go in through the passenger side. It'll have one of them too. It looks like that clip is missing out of this vehicle here, but just grab it. Right back in here. Kind of center ways on this console. Move this out of the way. There's a bolt right there. It looks to be a 10mm, and there will be one on the other side. We need to remove both of them bolts. Move both seats all the way forward, and you'll come back to the back side here of this console. Right here on the bottom, there will be a 10mm bolt here, and then there will be one on the other side remove both of them bolts. Inside this console, there will be 2 electrical connectors. There's one here. Don't know if I can get it unplugged with one hand, but anyway, that's one, and the other one's right here, right down in here. We just unplug them. I'll just grab this console by the rear. I'll just lift up. Well, I got 2 more 10mm bolts right there. Okay, I'm gonna grab the console at the back part. I'm gonna lift up on it, kind of pull out, and then just remove this whole console out the door here. Next, I'm gonna remove this shifter. I want it out of my way, so I'm just gonna go ahead and remove it. Might be kind of hard. Probably if you had somebody help you, might be able to lift it past it, the dash past it. But I'm gonna remove it. It's got 4 10mm nuts on it. One here, one here. And then there's 2 on this side over here. There'll be an electrical connector right here. We'll just unplug it. And then we'll have to take the shift cable off. But let me get it unbolted, and then I'll do that last. Down here on the shift cable where it hooks up, just follow this rod up to where it hooks to the lever and kind of pull. Maybe see if I can detach it from the peg in there. Okay, I just wasn't pulling hard enough on that. But it's detached from the little peg lever for this shifter. Back here on the back, right here where this white collar is, if you'll look on it, there is a release tab on this side here, and then there's one on the other side. I'm going to get something and push them in. I won't be able to show you. I've got that one pushed in, and then I'll have to pry it out of there when I get them released. Here on the side of the shifter, there's a just a retainer that holds this wiring harness on. Just gonna pull it loose and pull our shifter out. Okay, see where this wiring harness is that runs underneath this console, and it goes into the dash. What we're gonna need to do is we'll just start going and detaching it around these clips here. Maybe one more right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and unplug this connector. We'll get ready to remove this dash. You will not have to, you know, take all this wiring out that runs under the carpet here. We're just gonna roll this dash out and let it sit right here on these front seats. Okay, let's start taking this trim off down here. You just want to grab it and just pull straight up on it. See these little metal clips here? We'll get ready to install it back. We'll remove them clips and then put them back in place here. That will be much easier to install than trying to get this lined up into this. Next, we're going to remove this panel here. I'm just going to pull that weather strip out. See if I can pull straight out on it. Just like that. See them clips here. Next here, the side panel there. It's on the dash. Let me get you something and come in here and gently work it loose. Don't get too aggressive. On this pull handle, we need to remove this pull handle off of this A trim panel here. Just remove these little covers. Then up under these little covers, there will be, let's see here, see if I can see it. Looks like a 7mm, and then there's one here. Remove both of them. Okay, then we're 8mm bolts. Once that's off, I'll just pull this weather strip down a little bit where I can get my hand under here. Kind of work it free from the clips and pull it up. You see how the back, it's got these that go inside the end of the dash here in some slots. On the top side of the dash, there's a little cover right here. You'll remove it, and there's one on the driver's side. There will be a bolt underneath them covers. Now you have to get outside and look down through your windshield, and you'll see it right. Let me get my light. You'll see it right there. Looks like a 13mm. There's one on each side. Okay, you're going to want to drop your glove box lid down. Just grab it on each side here and pull, release these tabs. Then we're going to have to undo this vacuum harness right here. Separate this here. You'll have to use both hands. Going to want to unplug this here cable. This is the antenna cable, and that should just pull apart just like that. I think we're done through here for now anyway. So we can flip this back up. Next, we need to remove this ground wire. It's 8mm. Unplug this little switch here. Just take and pry that out, pull down on it, and remove that. Now we're going to remove the lower dash brace. Should have one on each side. This is the passenger side we're working on. We'll have two bolts right here that have to be removed. That's a 10mm. Pull this rug down right here, and you'll see the two 10mm nuts down here. Then remove them. Once them's removed, you can just pull this brace out. Just like that. I think we're done on this side for now. We have two mounting bolts up here, but I'll wait till I get ready to remove the whole dash. There's a 13 and a 13. On the driver's side, start removing the trim panel. Trim panels like we did on the passenger side. Remove this lower one here. Just pull it up on it. On this kick panel right here, you'll need to use a 20 Torx bit. There is a Torx bit screw on it. Just remove it out. Remove our handle. Pull this back a little, and then just try to get it loose from the. Well, there's a push tab pin back here in the back. We'll need to get it out. One of them right there, and then pull that on out. Then on our upper A-post trim, if I can get my hand back in here, it's just like on the other side. Okay, I just got to pull up on it. It's got a tether on this one. That I'm going to have to undo. A tether right here. I just slipped it out of that slot right here. Move this little side cover right here on the side of the dash. And then on top of the dash, that little panel for this side come out, and then there's a 13 millimeter bolt down in here. Okay, on the end of this dash here on the driver's side, underneath that cover, that big electrical connector right there, you'll need to unplug it. Just pop this out right here, and that'll hinge around. You grab your connector and unplug it. Right underneath the steering column, we need to remove this little panel right here. 7 millimeter bolt, 7 millimeter bolt. Then it'll pop, unclip from the top. So once that panel is removed, remove this little support bracket right here. 7 mil, maybe a 7. Let me see. Yep, 7 millimeter. 7 millimeter. On the underside of the steering column, there'll be 3 bolts that bolt up this lower cover. There's one back here. There's one back here. And one right here. We're going to need to remove them. We're going to separate the upper and lower panels. I'm just pulling down on it there. I'm going to come over here if I have to use a tool to help, but most of the time you just grab them and pull them down and separate it. That's the lower. Let my steering column down all the way, and I can pull the upper out. Underneath the steering column, we need to detach all these wire connectors. You'll just detach this harness up here. It's got a little clips or retainers that hold it into the column. In here, we'll just get something in there, get them removed, and then follow each one of these wires up. These bundle wires, they got little release clips here. You just push it in, pull it out. There's one there. There's one on this electrical ignition switch here. Just push it in, pull it out. Follow this one up to the airbag clock spring, pull it out, and then there's one back here that hooks onto this PATS module or PATS transducer right there. And then that, of course, it's got that one up there that I can get loose yet. Next, I'm going to slide up under the dash. I'm just going to lay my back right here on the floor, and I'm going to be looking up. Okay, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this on the back side of the steering column. See this little electrical connector right here? We need to unplug it, and you're just going to push in on a couple tabs on the side, and it's going to pop out. These little tabs right here. Don't pull this yellow thing off. And then while we're under here, see this little attachment right here? Get your pair of needle nose or something. Maybe I can pull it off, but anyway, we need to, yeah, there we go. See, it just flips off like right there. Next, there is a bolt. We need to disconnect this lower steering shaft from the steering column. There's a 10 millimeter bolt right here, and we'll remove it. Now at this point, we don't want this steering to spin on us. So just get it where we need it, unbolt it, and just make sure this don't spin on us. On this steering shaft, this bolt, got it loosened. So just remove it all the way out. It's a 10 millimeter. We need to separate that shaft from the column. Just get under here and pull on it. Just pull straight back on it. Now if you'll look here on the side, there's a notch on this. It's for when you go back, that bolt goes down and goes inside that notch. Theoretically, that'll only go on one way. So when you go back up with it, it'll go back in. But you have to watch out. You don't want the steering column to turn on you. I mean, you could turn it a little bit like this. It's not going to hurt anything, but you don't want it to go a full round out. That clock spring that sits in behind the steering column has got windings in it. And if that gets out of a line, if you make a sharp turn or something, you got that out of the line, it'll break that winding in there. Then you have to replace the clock spring. So yeah, just keep it straight like that. Even when you're coming out with it, we'll just grab it up here and bring it out the door. Next, we're going to unbolt the steering column. It's held on with these nuts here, 13 millimeter, one here, and then on the other side there's two, one back in here and then one up in here. Remove them. Now that it's unbolted, we'll just grab it, pull it off the studs down there, and just come out with it. And we'll always keep this steering wheel straight. We lay it on the ground, make sure it's straight. We need to remove this side brace here, just like on the other side. 10 millimeter nuts and then two 10 millimeter bolts. Okay, we're going to go through this opening here on the accelerator pedal. There's an electrical connector there. You'll pull this red tab back and then push a release on it and pull it out. Going through this same opening here where the steering column was, there is a brake light switch right here. It's got a connector on it, but they don't give you very much room to pull that connector out. I'm just going to grab it, spin it over here a little, and try to grab that release. You just don't give any room for this. Oh, there it is. Okay, we're going to remove the main mounting bolts for this dash. There's two on this side, 13 millimeter, one right here, and then there's two on the other side. Remove all four of them bolts. I'm going to start pulling this dash out. I'm going to do it slowly. Make sure I didn't forget to unhook something. We're just going to grab it, pull it out here, and I'm going to go on the other side, pull it out a little. And then we do have a connector down here that I forgot about. I forgot this connector right here. It just hinges up, pulls out, and then we'll have to detach it from the body. It's like that. We're going to pull it out, and I'm going to look back here. There is another connector back here that I need to unplug. Coming in through the passenger side here. This big connector right here. So just got to push deal in it right there and then separate it. Okay, grab this driver's side here and pull it on out maybe. I have to, got somebody help me, it's a lot easier. And we got another connector. No, this is the emergency brake release. It's got two 7 millimeter bolts in it. Right here. So it's got a rod that goes back in here and it hooks to this main emergency brake. No big deal. Let's remove it. Continue pulling it out slowly. So I'm sure there's other stuff that needs to be unhooked. Yeah, there's a connector right here on the end. There's a connector right here on the end that we need to remove. You'll just push that lever, push all the way over, pull out. Pull it out some more, just kind of keep an eye out. Go to the other side. I think we're free, so I'm just going to grab it. I'm going to flip it up like this. I may have another wire hooked up over there. Let me check it real quick. Yep. There's two more connectors right here. Right here on the end, the same like that last one we just did. Now there's two more of them connectors. There was one right here. You remove the same way by pushing that lever over. This one here has got a hinge type deal on it. And my dash just finished falling. Just pull that out, like that. Just gonna grab my top and I'm gonna roll it over into the sink. Like that. Now we got to remove this whole case. Heater core sits in here. I'm almost positive that somebody's tried to remove this right here without having to remove this whole case. Like I said, Ford says to remove this whole case to do it. I got to remove it anyway, so that's what I'm going to do. That looks like it would kind of be a tight fit to try to get that lower cover off. Anyway, let's do it the right way. It's the way I'm getting paid to do. So let's see, we're gonna have to, I think that wiring, yeah, I believe that wiring can stay in place. We'll have to remove the vacuum harness back here where it runs through the firewall. We'll unplug it out there, push it back through here. We'll have to disconnect the heater hoses and the AC lines, and then we can look on this other case to see where all the mounting studs are. Looks like we got 4. One here, one here, one here, and one here. So we should have 4 nuts out there under the hood on the firewall. Looks like this one is right next to where the evaporator core is, and then this one down here. This one will be more on the passenger side. On the passenger side where that vacuum harness went in right there. Just reach up in here and grab the edges of that boot. Just kind of work it around and pull that out like that right there. And come over to the hood. Right down here where the AC accumulator is at. Right, let's go look right down in there. Let me get my hands in the right place here. Right there where the end of my screwdriver's at, that's where that came out at. There's a gray vacuum hose and a black one. Trace them up to where they hook up at. The gray one hooks up to this water shut-off valve right here on the heater hose. Unplug it, and then the black one hooks up right here to this check valve. Once we get them unplugged, we can come in here, just pull them, work them and pull them through. Just let them hang. When you get them hose clamps off, there is a little bracket that's hooked up to these heater hose tubes right here. Looks like it's got a 10mm nut on it right there. We need to remove that. Okay, with that little bracket unbolted, that gives me a little more wiggle room on that. I'm just using a heater hose tool here to go in behind them heater hoses, go up in between them and kind of break them free from the tubes. Okay, next we're going for the AC lines where they hook up to the evaporator. That's this small one right here, and then this larger one right here. It's got some kind of retainer deals on it. We'll have to get them off. That's a metal one, and then we have a plastic one over here. So let's get them off. Okay, these are the retainers, I guess, to keep the lines from blowing off, but That's a metal one that just slides sideways. This plastic one, you just push down on these little levers right here. Got little arm fingers. Push down on them and it'll slide off sideways. And next we're going to need a tool to remove them spring locks. It's a quick disconnect, I guess is the proper terminology. But let's see what I do. You can either use something like these, pick them up at the parts store. I'm probably going to use this type. Set up here. I think that's the blue one and the yellow one, I believe, but it'll just wrap. You see it's got a release in here. It'll release the spring right down in here, a little collar that'll go on like that line, and then I'll wiggle them up there to release that spring. If you was using this type, you know, you would go in from the back side, like push it up into that coupler, work that around, try to release that spring. Okay, see, I got that blue tool on there. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but because I gotta get my whole hand in there. Anyway, you get that in there, get it pull it this way to disengage that spring, and then grab that line and kind of move that line up and down and pull straight out on it. Okay, that big AC line is off now. I'm not gonna lie, that was a pain in the butt. It took me a big, end up getting that this big pry bar here. You know, I had my tool on it with the spring disconnected, and I just come in here like this on the back side of it and just pulled it out like that right there with this pry bar. Okay, now all we got to do is remove the nuts that secure this case in. This is the new case. You can see where our studs are here. That's going to be where the location they are on this firewall. So this one right here is right down in here. You can see the stud just sticking out on it. You can't see the nut. One by the heater core right here, that one. And by the evaporator, there's one right there. And I hope you can see that. And then way down there, I don't know if you'll ever be able to see that, but there's one way down there. I'll just have to reach my hand back through in here, my arm, and get down there with a wrench and get that off. They look like 10 millimeter. There's 4 of them. Let's get them buzzed out. Okay, there's that. The lower one down in there, real hard to get to. I had to stick my whole arm in there. That's what you're going to expect. Scratched up arms. But that's the nut. End up using, these are 11 millimeter, not 10 millimeter, but the shortest wrench you can find, because you don't have much room down there to work, and you'll just have to keep, you know, inching it out. Pain in the butt. Okay, these other 3, I'm just using a wobble, 11 millimeter deep well, and extensions, and these are 1/4 inch drive. I'll get to that one right there. Come over here to this one. Get on it right there. And then this one down in here, I'll have to come through here, through this bottom, through here, reach up in there that way to get it. Okay, we should all be unbolted. I'm just gonna grab it, pull on it, just work it all the way out. And now I'll just set it on a table. Now when you go back in with this case, keep in mind the AC drain is right there. So make sure that goes back in there. like it should. I'll start with the heater core first. So we need to get these little duct work pieces off. 8mm, 8mm. And on this end, there's 2 over here. Let's buzz them out. That right there pulls out. Okay, now that them are off, I'm just gonna flip it up. I'll probably just flip it upside down this way. And take these bolts here off. Looks like there's 4 of them there, and then there's 2 in the front here. Now, it's got a side cover right here where them tubes run down through here. It's 8mm there, 1 on the bottom, and I'm sure there's another one up front. So let me get that cover off. Okay, this is on the other side of that little side cover. It's got a couple little bolts down there, hooks to this brace. So we'll have to take this brace and them 2 bolts out. Okay, I think that's all unbolted. This little installation deal here, we kind of peel it off. Need to try to save that. It's got a little clip down here that we'll have to pop out, a little push type clip securing this wiring harness to the cover. There's the side cover. And flip it back this way. Should be able to pull this heater core out now. Yep, there we go. So if you're doing a heater core, just go back with your new one. Reverse. You've seen how everything came out. Just reverse it. Go back. If you're doing evaporator, I'll show you how to get to it next. Okay, to get to the evaporator core, I'm gonna need to remove all these little bolts. I don't think you have to remove these center ones here. We're just removing the ones that's bolting to this back part case right here. Unplug the vacuum motor there. I don't see any on the back. It may just hook in on the back. So get them removed out. Okay, there is a couple of these little bolts that go into the back side on towards the bottom. We're just going to tilt that out. Keep in mind where that goes in at. I'm just going to set it right there in that part of the case, right there. Then you'll just pull this rubber insulator deal that goes to the firewall. So you'll have to reuse it. Just pull that off and pull your evaporator core out. And it's got another little cover up here you'll have to transfer over. Boy, look how dirty that is. Anyway, okay, I just noticed they lied to me when I ordered that case. The little motor I need is or the little lever is right here on the back side of the dash. I need this part. They sold me the wrong part. Dang it. Okay, I gotta get that upper case, I guess. They sold me the wrong case. So I'm gonna, got this dash just flipped back around. I gotta get this front cover off and pull this radio out. And it's got mounting bolts that bolt that upper case onto this dash. So I'm just showing you that. It's got, this just pops out, and then all these little connectors gotta be undone. And then the radio will have some bolts on it. Okay, with the radio removed and that front cover, these are the two bolts that I'm going after, and there was one down here that I've done removed. Okay, that got that part of it off. But this back here is what the part I'm needing. It's got two more bolts. One here, one here. So let me get them out. I called Ford on this and asked them about it, and they said, well, that's the case we sent you is the case you need. And I said, no, it's not. I said, it sits on top of that. And he looked it up. He says, well, we're not showing anything. All we're showing is what we sold you. So I'm going to take this apart. You take it to Ford, I guess, and say, see, I need this. So I'll probably just clean that up. The old case, I'll clean it up, put it all back together, clean that evaporator core out as dirty as it was. I'm going to go ahead and replace the heater core because we was going to do that anyway. And then I'll take that new case, I'll take it back and see if we can find the right case. This vacuum line. Yellow one. It's got a little clip right here. That's the one we need. It sets up here like this. You see the lever is broke there, where this little rod hooks to. Okay. Anyway, I had to go to Ford because they couldn't find the part, but we finally end up finding it, and they got it on order. We was going to replace the heater core anyway, so the heater core stopped up. So I had to remove this anyway, but I'm just going to clean all this up. Look how stopped up that evaporator core is. There's like no airflow going through there, I bet. Anyway, I'll blow that all out. Put this all back together. Anyway, you seen how it came apart, so just reverse it, go back together with it. Anyway, thanks for watching.